We know you like talking Star Wars. We like talking Star Wars. So that's exactly what we're going to do. This is The Wars and More.
Well, we mentioned it was coming last week, and it did, and it came in a big way. We finally got our first look at Jedi Fallen Order. This is The Wars and More. I'm Joe, and of course with me is my good buddy Doug. Hey Doug, how you doing this week?
I'm all right. How are you doing, Joe?
You're all right?
Yeah. A little headache, but I'm pushing through. We'll be all right.
All right's better than not all right.
That's right.
Optimism, right?
That's right.
We got some good stuff to talk about.
Absolutely.
Dude, Jedi Fallen Order. I mean, this is a beautiful looking game.
It sure is. I gotta say, for everything that we've seen on it so far, right, up until this gameplay footage, all the cinematic stuff has been awesome.
Yes.
And watching the gameplay footage is like, wow, this stuff is getting better and better all the time. So, for me, it's it's going to be one of those things. I might not be like, first guy in line to get it, just me in the games, right? But I'm definitely going to have to play this game.
Yeah, I mean, so you watch, and I don't know if you've seen this other footage that I'm about to mention, but you watch this gameplay footage and even the cinematics and everything for Jedi Fallen Order, and you compare it to the Marvel Avengers game that's coming.
Oh.
Have you seen that at all?
I have not seen that one.
Okay. That looks like it's a really fantastic release for PlayStation 3.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, the characters, the models are just awful.
Wow.
I mean, I understand to use the likenesses of the actors and all that, it gets expensive.
Sure.
Okay. So you have to, play with that a little bit.
Okay.
But, I mean, they just don't look like them at all. Wow. It looks like a really crappy parody.
Wow. Well, it's one thing I've got to say. Okay, so I've been watching Gotham, and
yeah,
when I first saw the cinematics for Fallen Order, I thought, wow, that guy looks an awful lot like the Joker. That was my first thought. So
you're in luck.
As it turns out, yep, that's the guy playing him. So,
yep. It's they really did a good job capturing his likeness. That's for sure.
For sure.
They did a really good job with a lot of things.
Yeah.
It's definitely what we're seeing is super impressive. Very reminiscent of The Force Unleashed.
Yep.
In the style of gameplay, which is, yeah, give me more of that.
Right.
I've actually had friends of mine say, I was like, oh, did you see the Jedi Fallen Order gameplay? They're like, oh, you mean Force Unleashed 3? I'm like, really? I mean, I kind of get what you're saying, but that's not what I got out of that.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, it's a third-person lightsaber combat. Like, okay, it's going to look like The Force Unleashed in a way.
In a way, right.
But at the same time, I looked at it as, wow, we're getting this new story about a new character.
Exactly.
So I have a really hard time just throwing a tag on it like Force Unleashed 3, like, oh, it's more of the same. It doesn't look like more of the same to me at all.
Exactly. For me,
because
it's all about story, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sorry.
I mean, you're saying Force Unleashed 3. I saw Gerrera.
Right. Exactly.
And I saw Gerrera, and I'm like, oh, sweet. You know, like...
Not only did you see Saw Gerrera, you got to see Saw Gerrera while you're driving an AT-AT. I mean, come on.
For sure.
I don't know.
I mean, you saw him in... Did you see the like 13-minute footage?
No.
Oh. Yeah, there's like a 13-minute like walkthrough of some of the gameplay.
Aha.
And you see Saw on the ground interacting with Cal. You know, it's really cool. He's like involved in a mission with Saw and his team.
Right. Dang.
So like some of the snippets in that trailer you saw.
Yep.
So the other thing, yeah, that is a trailer. That's a gameplay footage trailer.
Right. That's exactly right.
But there's like a 13-minute alpha version walkthrough.
Okay.
Where he moves through and really kind of displays a lot of the movement, combat, force abilities, things like that.
Okay.
You're like doing Jedi stuff, you know, like you're using the force to pull a vine over to you to swing in and initiate combat like that.
Gotcha.
Like really neat, really good looking stuff. Like the comparisons are obviously and for good reason to the Force Unleashed.
Right.
The Force Unleashed kind of set the bar for the future of Star Wars gaming.
Yeah.
Because Star Wars gaming was a very different thing before that. It was a lot of first-person stuff. It was a lot of ships.
Yes. Lots of ships.
I mean, you had X-Wing and Rogue Squadron, and you know,
right.
A lot. You know, you've done the trench run on the Death Star how many times?
Yeah. I'm gonna say not enough, but
agreed.
Okay. Yeah, I get your point. Yeah.
But that was Star Wars gaming of the past.
Yes.
I mean, you had stuff like the Jedi Academy games, Knights of the Old Republic.
Right.
But the Force Unleashed, really, the closest thing to the Force Unleashed prior to the Force Unleashed was Jedi Academy. Those games were very similar, third person, but those games were fun because you got to use blasters and lightsabers and like different combinations and
right.
But the Force Unleashed brought a new style of lightsaber combat.
Yes.
Much more fluid.
Much more fluid. Before, your lightsaber was only good for like hacking away. It was
It was very much like lightsaber combat of the original trilogy versus lightsaber combat of the prequel trilogy.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Or you could even liken it to let's say the original Zelda. Right? You have your sword and you're just hacking away at those.
Yeah, your sword went straight.
Exactly.
Yeah, you had like two different ways you could swing your lightsaber in, Jedi Academy.
Yeah, exactly.
You could come overhand and down, or you could come across.
Right.
Like, is it? And you could parry and block.
Right.
But the Force Unleashed, you were jumping around and doing cool spin moves.
Definitely.
Let's try spinning. That's a neat trick.
Yeah. Yeah. I love the maneuver in Force Unleashed where you can lift a stormtrooper up in the air, and throw your lightsaber and stick it in him and jump on him and yank it out. Yeah.
Yep.
That's a cool one.
Yeah, you weren't doing that in Jedi Academy.
Right.
Even the old first-person Jedi Knight game.
Right.
But this takes what the Force Unleashed did and expands on it. The Force abilities are... There's a lot more to them. I don't know how free range some of that stuff's going to be. You know, I'm assuming a lot of it's going to be situation based because, I mean, there's just not enough buttons on a controller, you know?
Right.
I guess PC would have a distinct advantage here, but...
Yeah, I would think that, you know, I don't know, man. Because you're right. You're going to have some limitations, but I don't know. Everything looked pretty darn fluid watching what little gameplay I saw. So, you know, it's got to be pretty intuitive, I'd imagine.
Yeah, and I like the way the trailer you saw, I like the way the game transitions. So the way it transitions from playable combat to a cutscene, back to playable combat to a cutscene, it's much more fluid than we're used to.
Yeah.
And they're really touting like load times are not really going to be a thing in this.
Oh, that's awesome.
So you're going to transition from, you know, not just cutscene to combat, but you're going to transition from this area of the map to this area seamlessly.
Wow, that is awesome.
That's going to definitely help with immersion.
Yes.
Yeah, you're really going to be, if that's the case, you're really going to be able to be sucked into this game.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to decide now is the time I should probably walk away for a little bit when you get a loading screen.
I was just going to say, sometimes it's like, okay, time to go get another beer, get a drink, something. Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds like with this one, you're not going to have as much of those opportunities. You're going to rely on the pause button to get those.
Right. Which
good.
That's good. But then, you know, it could also be bad in the case where it's like you realize, oh, it's been 6 hours. Oops.
Yeah, I just hope with all that, like, this doesn't end up being like Halo for me.
That's what I'm referring to for me. Yeah.
Yeah, because one of those things with Halo is I would sit down, like I'd go pick it up on release night, and I'd sit down and start playing, and 8-10 hours later, I'm still playing.
Right.
Like, oh crap, the game's over.
Yeah, that can happen.
Yeah. So without load times, I mean, you take the load times out of there, that just cuts that down.
Uh-huh.
It's like, I don't want to be, 5 hours and done.
Right.
I mean, I believe Battlefront 2, I was done even quicker than that. That was extremely short.
Right.
It really left me wanting, like, more. That was it. Like, I know the focus of this game is the multiplayer, but I need more single player.
Exactly.
Because while multiplayer is fun and all, multiplayer doesn't have... It's not a Star Wars story.
Exactly. And I gotta say, I have a feeling that a lot of, some of the people that you were talking to who called it Force Unleashed 3, that's probably where they're coming from, is the simple gameplay aspect. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I don't know, for me, with it, especially with it being Star Wars, priority number one is always story. So,
yes.
I don't know. Because we get stories from all these different mediums, and whether it's movies, TV, comics, books, video games, it all counts as far as I'm concerned. So,
well, yeah, and the stakes are even higher now. They're higher than they've ever been, because everything is canon now.
Yes.
So when you sit down to play this game, this story you're playing and you're walking through, it's canon.
Right.
This story affects the greater Star Wars universe.
Yep. And
you know, The Force Unleashed, yeah, you wanted it to.
Right.
But they were never committed on that.
Exactly. That is one thing. Lucasfilm pre-Disney, they would make those choices. They would say, okay, this is, but this isn't. And, you know, you'd almost have to get the Lucasfilm blessing. Yes, okay, so this story is canon. And then you as a fan would have to dig to find that information out sometimes, you know. Wow, does this really, you know, apply here? And sometimes yes, sometimes no. So, but now, yeah, they've committed to all of this stuff that's being released as canon. So,
yeah,
well,
and that, like I said, rolls. That definitely raises the stakes.
So, with those stakes being raised, I did see this BBC article here. They were talking at E3. Title is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order makers don't want to quote unquote screw up. So,
well, it would be really freaking weird if they did.
Really weird?
You know, if they wanted to screw up.
Oh, I gotcha. Yeah. Yeah,
like
it would.
I mean, I know we joke a lot and say, I sometimes I think that's what EA wants to do.
Yeah.
But we say that in jest.
Right.
So,
for sure. So, they're talking with, let's see, this is the BBC, so it might be worded a little differently here. This is 12 months on. Its developer Respawn Entertainment has only a glimpse of the gameplay at their EA Play event in the lead up to E3, the major LA gaming conference. But the company's boss has told Radio 1 Newsbeat he's feeling the pressure and responsibility of making a game set in the world of Star Wars. We don't want to screw it up, explains Vince Zampella. We have a chance to do something in a universe that we all grew up loving. The game is set not long after the film Star Wars Episode 3. As always, fans will want to see how the game fits into the overall story, which goes right into what we were just talking about. There's also added pressure on Fallen Order to impress after similar titles never made it to market. Star Wars 1313 was due for release in 2013, but was dropped after Disney stopped working on with developer LucasArts. Then in 2017, EA announced it had canceled production on another Star Wars title called Project Ragtag after it reportedly, quote, didn't make sense, unquote, in their business plan. He goes on to say, I don't know the other games. I don't know what the issue was, so I can't speak to it. One of the first things we talked about was doing a Star Wars game. It took us a little while to get there, but finally we got our chance at it, and we're driving to make it. So, oh, and then he also hinted that Fallen Order might not be the last we see of Padawan Cal Kestis, the Jedi learner who you play as in this game. He says he's now a Jedi in the Star Wars data bank. So, I mean, his story will continue to go on.
Whoa.
Vince says. That's what he says. It's a quote.
Spoiler alert.
Right. So,
we don't want to screw this up, but here's the ending.
Hey, you never know. He could be talking like, prequel to the game.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
I'll give you that.
Hey, it's a possibility. Yes.
But so one of the things about this game would be being a Jedi set in this time period. Okay.
Yep.
You got these Inquisitors, they're hunting you.
Right.
The Emperor and Vader's sole purpose is to eliminate the rest of them.
Correct.
That, while you're playing this game, is a stake that is on your mind.
Yeah.
Your very existence is threatened.
Yep.
So, to go, hey, his story might continue. What?
Right. It is kind of funny. I mean, it does sound to me like, though, they do have a really good idea of what the stakes are for this game.
Yes.
Because, I guess as someone developing a Star Wars game, you've got somebody constantly in your ear going, yeah, remember 1313? Yeah, what's up with that ragtag thing, So,
yeah. This could go really bad.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we'll get there. But, it's. I'm glad they're at least thinking about it. I'm glad they're not thinking, okay, we can reskin a game, throw a Star Wars title on it, and it'll sell, right?
Yeah.
I don't think we're getting that.
Yeah, I mean, it almost makes you feel like EA is not doing this.
Right.
Because that's what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just add a little polish here, and all right, here's your shiny new repurposed game.
Yeah. Well, so far looks pretty good.
Yeah. So one thing I did want to mention in this thing that kind of made me sigh a little bit.
Uh-huh.
You see a moment where, I mean, and we did have a little off-mic discussion on this, so I may be seeing it wrong, but it sure looks like Cal stops a blaster bolt in midair.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
And I was just kind of like, so this is a thing now?
So when
is this made to be an ability that we are meant to think that Jedi could do all along? They just haven't had a need to do that?
I don't know, man. Granted, what I saw was the gameplay trailer, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
And as that scene rolled by, what my take on it was since your character was moving still at normal pace and the stormtrooper slowed way down, I was kind of thinking it was the blaster bolt slowing way down as well. I could be mistaken. So what I viewed this as was kind of like when Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan hightail it away from the destroyer droids, right?
Oh yeah, the droideka.
Right. So, yeah. From the player's perspective, you could still control things and everything at normal pace, but moving so fast, everything else would be slowed down. That's kind of the way I took it.
Okay.
But if you're saying that blaster bolt was stopped,
it sure looked like it was stopped to me. It looked like the blaster bolt stopped, and I know what you're talking about with it's supposed to be like the Jedi's heightened reflexes.
Right.
So you're actually moving faster than everything around you.
Right.
But you can't really do that and be able to keep up in a video game, so you have to slow everything else down.
Exactly.
And still keep moving. You got to kind of matrix it.
Yeah.
But it sure looked like that blaster bolt did not continue to move. I could be mistaken. Maybe it was still moving. But it looked like the stormtrooper was moving really slow, and that blaster bolt had stopped.
So, for me, and I mentioned this to you earlier, and I'm going to say it again, if that's the case, that really kind of, in my mind, diminishes what Kylo Ren was able to do at the beginning of The Force Awakens.
Right.
Because that is something that we had never seen up until that point.
And if they're going to explain this away as an ability that could have been done before but was never done just because there was never a need for it, I guess okay. That would kind of ground some of the new abilities that we've seen, and the frequency at which we've seen new abilities.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because they kind of really give this mention like watching sports, 10, 15, 20 years ago versus watching sports now. All sports have changed, right? The athletes have gotten way more athletic.
Right.
So kind of giving it that, kind of like athletes, that athletes of the old game really wouldn't fare as well in the new game because the game's evolved.
True.
Using hockey, for example, would Wayne Gretzky be Wayne Gretzky if he was playing in today's game?
Yeah, probably not.
He would probably not be. So it could be, maybe they don't want it to be that way so much. So it's kind of like they could do this all along, but there was never a need for it.
So, okay, I'm going to throw this out there. The only other thing that we've seen that's similar was Cloud City, Vader and Han Solo, right?
Yeah.
And that wasn't stopping a blaster bolt. That was just
absorbing them.
Yeah, kind of catching them. So, but I don't know. I don't know. I got to say that was something right there that said to me right away, wow, this guy's good. This Kylo Ren guy. Hang on to your seat here. So,
yeah, but to expand on that, for example, showing new abilities that obviously the Jedi could do all along, I would point to Kanan in his final episode of Rebels.
Yep.
The way he kind of created a bubble around them.
Yep.
So, doing something like that, being able to hold everything back, would kind of hint at, Kanan could probably stop a blaster bolt if he needed to.
Okay.
If he's able to hold back all this fire and destruction, albeit for a short time.
We have seen that kind of thing before, though. I would say in Clone Wars. Kind of holding a force bubble, so a protected area with things collapsing about you, or in Kanan's case, all the fire and explosion around you.
Right, but it's not something we've really seen in the films.
Agreed.
So maybe more of an expansion on force abilities as opposed to new force abilities.
Yeah.
And we've seen more and more different abilities being present in different people.
Yes, I was just about to go there. Because I will say, yes, there was probably Jedi and Sith, right, of millennia past who could do all kinds of stuff that, the Force users we know from our 3 trilogies that we have now,
right,
haven't done. So there is that, right? I mean,
yeah, in the old expanded universe, there was a lot of mention of stuff like that.
Yeah.
So this could be kind of going down that road. Like these are abilities that are out there. We just haven't seen characters that have been able to wield these particular abilities.
You know what we need? We need super special editions of the original trilogy where Luke does this in the sand skiff. You know, I'm just joking.
Yeah, I don't know how that would work out.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm just, like I said, I'm joking. But so
the name, super special edition.
Yeah, super special. We already have special editions, so I guess, you know, my initial reaction to that, you know, I'm not going to deny my initial reaction to that, but if I really think about it and open my mind to it, I can see that being a thing then. You know?
Yeah. So I guess that makes me feel a little better about that idea.
Right.
Because, and the reason I say that I feel a little better about that is because I don't know if I really like the idea of that, like I said, that athlete comparison I made. That the game has just changed and the Jedi of old wouldn't be able to hang.
Right.
You know, they're more powerful now.
Right, yeah.
But then there was that other aspect where, like, look, they're the only 2 or 3. There's 3 out there, right? 4?
Yeah.
4. Now there's only 4 out there. Well, maybe there's a increase of force strength when, you know, it's...
The force is not divvied up among so many Jedi.
Yeah, I didn't want to say that, because that sounds ridiculous when you put it that way.
Exactly.
Like, there's just not enough force to go around.
Right.
At this time. Like,
no.
Yeah, that's a dumbass idea.
That's funny.
Like, you got to use it sparingly. It's going to run out.
Yeah, that cracks me up. And I got to say, to your sports analogy, you know, I'm sure Wayne Gretzky, you know, played a lot of hockey as a youth, maybe did travel hockey and all that kind of stuff. But kids today, when they're thinking about, you know, you have 10, 12-year-olds, they're going hard today. You know?
Yeah, some of these kids come out of the womb with skates on.
Exactly.
You know, like, it's just the way it is.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, I've seen it firsthand at the rink.
Uh-huh.
I've seen kids that can skate better than they can walk.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Absolutely. Now,
that's definitely a thing.
That's commitment, you know, that's for sure. But I would definitely have to say that, you know, a lot of the younger players that we see today, they grew up sleeping, eating, breathing it. So,
yeah, there's definitely been a couple times where I've seen that, where, like, you see a kid on the ice just zipping around and everything, and he comes off the ice, he goes to run and falls flat on his face. It's like,
sorry to laugh, but yeah.
No, it was hilarious.
Oh, good.
Yeah, he wasn't hurt. He was a hockey player.
Right.
So, yeah, but all in all, you know, it's funny. I mean, we speculated more than we actually talked about the damn game.
Right.
But that's good.
It is.
That's good. That this is a video game that is sparking this kind of conversation.
Agreed.
And that's super exciting, because it's a medium in Star Wars that hasn't been utilized very well in recent years.
Right.
It's just been, you know, I mean, Battlefront was fun. I mean, it was a lot of fun. I've had a lot of fun with it. I still enjoy it. But I did not enjoy these Battlefront games like I did, for example, The Force Unleashed.
Right.
The Force Unleashed sucked me in a way that Battlefront has yet to do. I have tons of fun every time I sit down and play it, but I'm not doing no marathons in Battlefront.
Right. Yeah, well,
I do foresee marathons in my future with Jedi Fallen Order.
Right. I'm just looking forward to that story, man.
Oh yeah, that's what the marathon's going to come from.
Right.
Like, I gotta know what happens next. You know, edge of my seat Star Wars. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Exactly.
Have something to add to the conversation? Or you just want to let us know how we're doing? Email us, show@thewarsandmore.com. That's the best place to get in on the action. But if social media is a little more to your liking, @TheWarsandMore on Twitter is always a good place to interact with us. And we're also on Facebook, facebook.com/TheWarsandMore. And of course, your portal to this and everything else, The Wars and More, is thewarsandmore.com. All right, so it's a little surprise that we're still going to be talking Galaxy's Edge. I mean, this thing's still all the buzz.
Oh, for sure.
So one thing that stood out to me, something that's kind of come out about the way cast members handle things down there, is the use of the word younglings.
Right. Or the lack thereof.
Yeah, lack thereof. They've shied away from that word because of Anakin's actions.
Right.
And Obi-Wan's description of it, saw him killing younglings.
Right. So if you're drawing a blank, which I doubt, but just for a refresher.
I have seen a security hologram of him killing younglings.
Not Anakin.
Oh, yes, Anakin.
Yes. But that right there was enough for them to shy away from that.
Well, as I understand it, this was a complaint of some parents attending the park. So,
really?
Yeah. So, it's kind of, I totally get wanting to make every guest happy. But, I mean, this is Star Wars, and from time to time, Star Wars does go down a dark path, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of like, that's what the franchise we all love does. But, so it just interesting. I don't know.
This would be like, this to me is like shying away from referring to someone as an Alderanian because they blew up Alderaan.
Right.
or not having sand people because of what Anakin did to the sand people.
Right. Or not having a cast member playing Kylo Ren because, he's evil. Right?
Yeah. Killed lots of people.
Right.
Can't refer to Darth Vader.
Exactly.
So I understand the intent. And I understand, it's got a dark history. But let's keep in mind that is not the only time in Star Wars that we heard the term younglings.
It is not. I was going to try and clip some more positive references, but between other episodes of the Skywalker saga and Clone Wars and just from episode to episode of that, like just interspersed throughout a bunch of those. I couldn't, there's too many references, I guess. I could have pulled one or two, I guess, but man, there's a lot.
So my question is this, okay? So say George Lucas doesn't create a term for children in Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And he just refers to them as children or kids. Do you have the same reaction? Do you now not call kids in the park because Obi-Wan says kids instead of younglings?
Well, here's the thing. So one of the references we were just talking about is episode 2, where Obi-Wan is looking for, lost a planet Obi-Wan has, right?
Yep.
And Yoda's teaching all the younglings. And right in this same scene, Yoda says, younglings, you know, stops them from their training. They talk with Obi-Wan. So what does Yoda say after the child, or after the kid comes up with the answer for Obi-Wan? What a wonderful thing a child's mind is.
Yes.
Huh. So they use both references, right? All in the same scene. So, you know.
Yeah, I mean, this decision is coming down solely to that clip you just played.
Right.
Which is Obi-Wan referring to him killing younglings.
Right. Exactly.
And like I said, if he says killing children or killing kids,
right,
does this garner the same reaction? I say no.
Probably not. I think that maybe, you know, maybe sometimes we overthink things a little too much. and that's where I'm at. I think this is just a little bit of an over analyzation of things. Right.
And just, yeah, trying to make something bad out of the term younglings. And I don't think that is a wise decision, because so now you're affecting story going forward. I mean, you can't use the term younglings in the films now if this is the decision you're making.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I just think that, like, if you're willing to, like, let your kids be involved with Star Wars, watch Star Wars, you know, it's all part of it. You know, aside from Revenge of the Sith, the worst of these things are PG, right? That's parental guidance. That's, you are there watching with your kids. It's, you know, and I guess, you know,
and George Lucas was even conscious of the scene with Anakin there.
Yep.
You don't see Anakin straight up killing children.
Correct.
You see him crossing blades with a kid.
Right.
I mean, you do see a Padawan on the landing platform.
Yes.
But that's it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he was conscious enough in making this to make the decision not to show something that would be absolutely horrific.
Right.
The mere mention of it was enough in his eyes.
Yeah. And really, for this type of storytelling, I think it is enough.
It is enough.
You know,
it was a good decision.
There's no sense in being, you know, graphic or gratuitous about it. It was plenty. So, yeah.
Apparently, it was more than enough.
Right.
I mean, I like I said, I don't want to downplay it, because I do understand to a point, but at the same time, I see it as something that could spiral out of control.
Yeah. Now, I agree with you. I just want to make mention, I have seen posts on this subject since then that have said cast members are using the word. So, I would like to think that maybe this was something that kind of got considered, and then they thought, it's a part of Star Wars. So,
or maybe even a little more of an isolated incident.
It's possible. Yeah.
Okay.
But interesting nonetheless, because, you know, that
like I said, there are happy references to the term youngling.
For sure.
And,
absolutely.
You know, the term was used as a, you know, like you said, the innocence of a child and how brilliant the mind of a child is. You know?
Right.
And yeah, I just don't feel like that scene should, take away from that.
Exactly.
Because if that scene taints that word for being able to be used at the park, then it essentially taints that word for ever.
Right.
Meaning when Yoda says younglings, like he's not in that scene making a what's the term? He's not foreshadowing, what Anakin's going to do. And if you tie this term with that, that's him. That would be him foreshadowing it.
Right.
And I don't like that.
Yeah. I don't know. There's no like ties there really. So that's
why I say if you solely tie this term to what Anakin did, then I think that's a bad path.
Right.
This term is not meant to be tied to only that scene.
Yeah, exactly.
This term is just meant to be a Star Warsy term for kids.
Exactly.
That's it.
Which I think it has done very well.
Yeah.
And
trying to give it another worldly feel.
Yep.
So, yeah. That's really all I got to say about that.
Yep.
That's just...
I'm with you. 100%.
So, Mark Hamill's still out there.
Oh, yeah.
Still doing stuff.
Yes, he is. He was on the Late Late Show with James Corbin. And he had some stuff to say, as he always does. I was going
to say, no way.
Yeah, I know. We were talking about Galaxy's Edge, so here we got a couple pieces on that. So Mark recalls his days on set shooting on the Falcon versus what Smuggler's Run was like.
I feel like you guys are the worst people to go to this attraction.
No, listen.
No, you are, because you were all actually there. So how much are you going to be wandering around going, wow? You'd be like,
yeah, but
it's a bit like what we were, but not quite as good.
But we were in a cutout cockpit of the Millennium Falcon with the stagehands rocking it and so forth. When you get on that ride, you experience it in a way that you never did making the movie. We were just pretending. Here, they do everything for you.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. I mean, that right there just goes right along with, the term movie magic, right? Everything that we thought we were seeing on the screen was nothing like that on set. So this actually kind of gives Mark the chance to have the experience that we were all seeing when he was making the movie.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of laugh because listening to James Corden saying that, like he kind of makes it seem like they shot those scenes on location,
Right?
Like,
I know.
No, dude. Like,
yeah, it's kind of funny.
I mean, back in those days, I mean, this stuff was like, some of it was made out of cardboard, dude.
Right. Yeah. Some of it, like a background, was just, they did those big
matte paintings.
Matte paintings, yeah. Which, it was that something like that alone could take you into that different world where if you're standing there on the set, you can see everything out beyond the matte painting. And you're doing a good job acting, basically.
Well, yeah, I mean, and that's including the scenes with the Falcon where the Falcon's just in the background.
Exactly.
They didn't have a full-size Falcon.
Right.
That's a new thing. Now, that being said, all of these actors have now been on the full-size Falcon that they built for the new films.
Right.
So I kind of understand what he's saying there, but even then, okay, yeah, they built this full-size Falcon. Some of that stuff is just literally, like I said, probably not a piece of cardboard, but like a piece of cardboard, just painted to look cool.
Oh, yeah.
it doesn't do anything.
Right. Totally. Yeah.
So probably walking in one where it's got just buttons and levers and all kinds of stuff you can push. It's got to be a new experience.
Exactly. Something that I can't wait to do for sure.
Oh yeah. And hearing Mark say like, yeah, this was nothing like we did. This felt real,
Uh-huh. So they were also talking about the big grand opening of Galaxy's Edge, and let's just say we had Mark and Harrison and George and Billy D all there, and we weeks prior we played clips of this and them coming out to help introduce Galaxy's Edge. We took note of a couple things when we did that, and it's funny how that kind of comes out again, but here they are talking about that, so check it out.
Now, this is exciting, Mark. You were with Harrison Ford, George Lucas, and Billy D. Williams at the opening of Star Wars, the new attraction at Disneyland. Here you are here. Can I be honest? Yeah. Billy D looks like the only one who's having a nice time. Look at this. Having a great time, would rather eat their own than be there. Is that right? What was it like?
George and Harrison are always sort of grumpy.
Yes.
His speech George got up and to open the park, to open Galaxy's Edge. He goes, well, this could have all gone terrible, but it didn't. I thought, he approaches things from...
He's a real glass half full guy.
Well, kind of. I mean, the whole time we were making Star Wars, we were trying to cheer him up, because you'd do a take and you'd look, and they'd say cut, and you'd look at George and he'd just go...
Sounds like it was great to work for George when he was directing.
Right.
But it's funny because Mark keyed in on this thing. I know I kind of keyed in on it when I heard George talking during the dedication. It was kind of funny because his comment there. So I had to clip it, right? And the part I'm talking about is this right here.
Well, this could have all gone terrible, but it didn't.
So I thought, okay, we're gonna do this right. We're gonna just see how good Mark's impression is. So here, this is Mark versus George. Yeah.
Well, this could have all gone terrible, but it didn't.
It could have gone very bad, but it didn't.
It's not bad.
Not bad.
I don't know. It was just funny. Because when George was up there doing that speech, I keyed in on that thinking, wow, what's he mean? It could have gone terrible. I guess that's a compliment from George, right?
Yeah, I think that's what passes for a George Lucas compliment.
Right.
Like, yeah, you could have really screwed this up.
Yeah. But
you guys did.
You didn't, so yeah.
Oh, hey, cool.
Exactly. He did call it, what was it? Star Tours on steroids or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, there's a compliment for sure. So,
well, yeah, and George's appreciation for Star Tours is well known.
Oh, for sure.
Like,
Absolutely.
He was a huge fan of that whole collaboration he did with Disney.
Yes.
And I gotta say, I'm a fan too. Like, I loved Star Tours. I loved, what did they call it? When they brought it back, it was, shoot.
Yeah. I'm drawing a blank too.
The Adventure Continues or something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
I know I should be more prepared, but I'm going to look this up. Yes, The Adventure Continues.
Okay, cool.
So I was a little Like, I thought that's what it is, but
but yeah, I just it cracked me up.
And that's a real compliment, because the Adventure Continues is if you ever rode the original Star Tours and then rode that one, it's way different, and it's way better.
Oh yeah, it's night and day for sure.
It's definitely more immersive.
Yes.
You feel more like you're actually doing what's happening.
Yep.
And if they're saying that is all like Star Tours on steroids, I can't wait.
Oh, I know it. Okay, so Mark likes to talk, right? So in weeks past, he's been how do we put it? I don't know, not so concerned with what he says anymore, because, the movies are filmed. He's all done, right?
Yeah.
So he says things like, like this.
Well, I love driving the Disney executives crazy, because what are they going to do, fire me?
Yeah, right.
So apparently, Mark has some experience with this already, and, he went on to tell the story.
I always was trying to find the theatrical aspects of it.
Yes.
I worked right down the street here at Jack in the Box.
Right.
And I was in the back all the time, making shakes and minding the grill. And I always aspired to work the window.
Yes. The drive-through. You're right. It's the pinnacle. It's the pinnacle of the
where you can see the cars behind. And the one chance I had at it, it never occurred to me not to be in character as the clown, as the Jack in the Box clown.
Oh, I see.
Who would want to hear, so what's your order? I wanted to hear, what's your order? My manager didn't think it was very funny. He told me to go home and never come back.
Wow.
Yeah, I got
fired from Jack in the Box.
Fired for being in character. Why, you? I'll show you. One day I'll be the Joker, and then you'll be sorry.
There you go. There you go.
Heck yeah.
Well, mission accomplished.
Exactly.
And arguably the best Joker.
Right. That was funny. That's just good. Mark's got these stories. He loves to tell them. I love hearing them because they are always entertaining. So, neat stuff.
Yeah. I've thought about this when we talked about this before. And my apologies in advance. I'm going to use a little language here.
Okay.
But I think it suits this, because he's telling this story right now, and someone's watching TV, and they just went, holy shit, that was Mark Hamill?
Yeah. Right. Exactly. I was just trying to order some food, man.
That was Mark Hamill.
Oh, yeah.
So my apologies again for the language, but I could not find a way to say that.
Right.
And convey the excitement of said person.
Hey, I think we all understand, because we've all had that thought.
I know.
So, yeah. And if you're getting waited on by Mark Hamill, yeah, you'd have that thought for sure. Even if you realized it after the fact.
Yeah, someone's going to show up with like a Jack in the Box bag at a convention somewhere and say, I was the guy in line, dude. Can you sign this?
Oh, that's funny.
Heck, people might do that anyway just because they found out now that he used to work at Jack in the Box.
Right. That's possible.
Yeah, that was just a funny story to me.
Yeah, totally.
Because, I mean, if you are that person that, I know that person looked at the speaker like, what the hell?
Yeah, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Didn't expect that.
Because, he's right. Every time I try not to, but every time you do pull up to a fast food speaker, it is that same voice, can I take your order? It's and it would have to put a smile on your face if you went up there and you had the voice of a clown coming out of the Jack in the Box speaker, which back then when he was doing that was in the shape of a Jack in the Box.
Right.
The speaker. So
I understand where Mark's coming from here, because I'm going to say something about myself here that's kind of funny. So sometimes when I'm in the drive-thru and I hear a voice like that that's like really down.
Yep.
Like, what's your order? You know, I like try to do an impression of them when I make my order.
Nice.
Now, I'll say this. I only do it to people who sound down.
Right.
Like, I'd like to think that, hey, maybe that made them chuckle.
Yeah.
But probably not.
Hopefully they have that type of sense of humor where they can appreciate it. So yeah, I doubt it.
Yeah. I sincerely doubt it. But like I said, I relate there.
Totally.
Yeah, it still blows me away. But yeah, he definitely he showed that manager. He can do a clown.
Yeah, he can do a clown, that's for sure. So I guess that's all I had from Mark on the Late Late Show. But good stuff as always. Funny.
Yeah. He's always humorous. That's no doubt. Never. This is why we talk about Mark's appearances on stuff so much.
Oh, right.
I mean, it's like Harrison. Like, and it's funny. He talks about the what's your order?
Yeah. That's totally Harrison.
Yeah. So Harrison would have killed it working the drive-thru at a Jack in the
Box. Yeah.
All right, kid. What do you want?
Exactly.
All right. So, Star Wars Celebration, Anaheim.
Yes, this is pretty I don't know. New news, I guess.
New news, but like what's interesting is it seems to be coming fast.
Yeah.
Like we just got done with Chicago.
Right. Like, everybody's still in recovery mode, right?
Yeah, and to say that it's coming fast is really kind of an understatement, because they announced the dates. So when you hear the dates, okay, that seems like, oh, you got time, right?
Yeah.
So it'll be in 2020.
Okay.
August 27th through the 30th in Anaheim.
Right on.
And then you find out when tickets are going on sale.
Uh-huh.
And to say that's right around the corner is that's an understatement.
Uh-oh.
Because tickets are going on sale next week.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
June 21st.
Wow.
You can get your tickets for Star Wars Celebration Anaheim.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm a little shocked that it's just over 2 months.
Yeah.
After Chicago, you can buy tickets for the next one. I mean, maybe they're trying to feed off the high.
Maybe, yeah.
People are like, wow, that was great. Oh, let's buy tickets to the next one.
Let's hope.
I have no doubt that 4-day tickets will be sold out.
Right.
By August of this year.
Oh, yeah. So you just mentioned something there that's interesting. It's 4 days.
Yeah. They abandoned the 5-day plan.
Right. So as somebody who experienced 5 days, your opinion, good idea, bad idea?
Well, I would say just from the standpoint of ticket sales.
Uh-huh.
Just because I followed this super closely. Monday tickets, they were they were practically trying to give them away.
Oh, really?
When the event arrived. So, I mean, you think about this from a perspective of like vacation time.
Yeah.
You know, from your employment and things like that. You know, it's easier to, you know, take off on Wednesday and then come back on Monday, right?
Yeah, generally.
So if you stay to go to the event on Monday, then you're taking a Monday and a Tuesday off.
Right.
You know, potentially Wednesday, depending on how far you're traveling. And if you're driving versus flying, things like that.
Yeah, totally.
So, yeah, I think the Monday idea was just a little bit of a turnoff. And even actually being there on the convention floor on Monday, Monday was a bit light.
Okay. That kind of makes sense to me. I mean, you know, you're going to have a lot of people who, you know, planned for the 4 days, and, you know, after they get done on Sunday, they got to start heading home. So, you know, for exactly the reasons you just mentioned. So,
well, I mean, so for example, for me, right, my plan was to go in. I bought 5-day passes, but I was not going to go to the convention on Monday.
Right.
Like, it was totally in my plan to just go see some sights in Chicago on Monday. And we were traveling back on Tuesday or Wednesday. I can't remember which day. I think Tuesday we were traveling back.
Gotcha.
But I was like, okay, we'll take a day to go see things around Chicago. We're in Chicago. Might as well go see some stuff.
Right.
And then I won the lottery for the Phantom Menace panel on Monday. Like, now I got to go.
Yep.
Which ended up being a real blessing. While the Phantom Menace panel was fun, it was not my favorite panel of the convention.
Gotcha.
Okay, it wasn't even my favorite panel for Monday.
Ooh.
Because I ended up getting one of the Lightspeed passes for the Resistance panel.
Okay, right.
That panel was a blast.
Yeah, I remember you saying that now.
Yeah, the cast was great. We got to see the first episode of season 2.
Right.
It was just a very memorable panel.
Awesome.
And up there in my... It ranked up there with when I saw the Rebels panels at Star Wars Weekends back in 2014, I believe.
Gotcha.
So getting to see that sneak peek stuff and just getting to see some of the new cast, things like that. Because the funny thing about new entries into Star Wars, the cast always comes in with such vigor.
Yeah, enthusiasm.
And this one included Donald Faison.
Right. No lack of enthusiasm there.
Yeah, if you're familiar with any of his work.
Right.
I mean, so the guy you see on screen, that's that dude.
Right on.
I mean, he was just hilarious and so energetic and funny. You know, and the whole cast, I'll tell you what, the Resistance crew, how much their characters actually reflect their personalities was just a sight to behold.
Awesome.
So I guess in the end, I guess what I'm saying, I guess 5 days wasn't that bad because I got that.
I was going to say, talking about Monday an awful lot here.
Yeah, it's like, I didn't really want to go on Monday. And then I had a great time.
Yeah.
But a lot of things about Monday, I think that ended up making Monday kind of fun for us was, one, it was a little lighter in the attendance. So we were able to really weave through there really well.
Yeah.
That made it much more enjoyable. But it really was a lot. I mean, if it wasn't for that Resistance panel, I mean, like I said, the Phantom Menace panel was fun.
Yep.
But it was predictable.
Okay.
You know, there wasn't there wasn't like any real revelations, which I guess, you're talking about a 20-year-old movie.
Right. Yeah, obviously.
So revelations, I mean, it's 20 years old. But there weren't any real surprises. I mean, you expected everyone that showed up to show up.
Right.
And one thing it lacked that the other panels had, and I know this sounds kind of greedy, but it didn't have a giveaway.
Oh, okay.
So there was no poster or like, you went to the episode 9 panel, you got that beanie hat. You went to the Mandalorian, you got a poster. We went to the Resistance panel on Monday, we got a poster.
Right.
And I would think like the 20th anniversary of the Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, I didn't get a poster, but where's Ewan McGregor?
Right.
Where's Liam Neeson? Like that's, and I guess it, like I said, it's kind of selfish to say these kind of things, but that's what you went into that panel kind of expecting.
Right.
Because Ahmed Best was like, he was so out there throughout the whole convention. He was just so involved.
Right.
So to see him at the Phantom Menace panel was like, of course he's going to be at the Phantom Menace panel. He's been here all weekend.
Right.
Ian McDiarmid, same thing. He was so involved all weekend. It's like, I'm not surprised to see him here.
That's
Ian
cool.
McDiarmid a couple years ago before he made a celebration appearance again, that would have been big.
Right.
But he's done it. So you were just kind of looking for that surprise or something along those lines. And that never came.
Right.
Great panel. A lot of fun. It was great seeing Ahmed Best back.
Yeah, totally.
But like I said, I mean, Ahmed Best being back was kind of, I don't want to use the term downplayed, but by that point, he had been so involved all weekend that it's like, well, of course he's back.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Like, great to see you, dude, but like, I've seen you like 20 different places here already.
Yeah, yeah. You're looking for some big surprise of another big name for them to get back for that panel exclusively or something. Yeah, I get it.
I mean, we were even expecting maybe a George Lucas appearance.
Right.
He got a video, but he wasn't there.
Right.
And that was actually super shocking given how often he's in the Chicago area these days.
Yeah. True.
So I guess that probably even made it worse because everybody's like, oh, he's in Chicago so much now. He's going to be here.
Right.
Nope. So, like I said, not a disappointing panel at all, but just lacked those surprises.
I would say after this testimony, everyone's going to be bummed out now that it's only 4 days. But here's the silver lining. Apparently the Anaheim Convention Center is like right across the street from Disneyland. So I'd plan on that 5th and maybe 6th day for, heading over to Galaxy's Edge and partaking over there.
Yeah, that's a great idea because no one's going to do that.
Exactly.
You will be the only one.
Yeah, I don't think so. But so plan on those extra days, for Galaxy's Edge and plan on longer lines. How's that?
Yeah, well, I'll say this, okay? If you go to Celebration and you leave Celebration, you feel like you haven't had enough Celebration, go to Galaxy's Edge.
Right.
Because I experienced this in Orlando.
Oh, yeah.
You get done with the convention's over, and you're kind of like bummed. I was like, oh, it's over already.
Right.
That was so fast. And then I went to Disney Hollywood Studios, and I'm in the Star Wars launch bay, and I'm with everybody that I talked to at Celebration.
Right.
So it's like another day of celebration. So do that.
Yes.
I highly recommend it. Mainly if you go on those days, you're going to be hanging out with the 501st. There's never a bad time to hang out with the 501st.
Right.
Ever.
Just remember their dress code because, can't cosplay there like you can at the convention.
Yeah, they did release a like do and don't.
Right.
So go check that out.
Yes.
There is a little more leeway than we initially talked about.
Right.
But it's still somewhat strict. You can't show up in costume.
I was going to say, with as all out as the fans go for the conventions, I don't think, that's going to be
don't
allowed.
wear what you're wearing to Celebration.
Right.
Galaxy's Edge. Although I feel like, on the 31st, and into the start of September, like the first few days, I really feel like they should relax that a little bit.
I would like to think that they would, because, this is, it's Star Wars and it's fandom and it's what loving this franchise is all about. So,
and it's Celebration and they're all there.
Right.
So I wouldn't hold my breath for that.
No.
But if they would relax that, I can guarantee you there'll be 1,000 stormtroopers in there.
Yeah, exactly. So here's what you got to do, Joe, right? Is you got to if you're going to go, you got to talk to Jonas, see if he can co-pilot Smuggler's Run with you. Because that'd just be awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
No?
I should do that because I'm probably also the only one with that idea.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, well, hey,
Yeah, I'll tell you what. That's another thing. That would be a good weekend to where if you are looking for like a surprise appearance from someone on Smuggler's Run.
Yeah.
There will definitely probably be some lucky people who are going to have Chewie as their co-pilot. I'm just saying.
Oh God. Could you imagine? Wow.
And this guy is the kind of guy that does that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Jonas, he's been kicking ass in this role.
Oh yeah, totally.
And not just the role in the films, but his role in, fandom.
Right.
Yeah, there's another thing to consider. So go in the evening after Celebration.
Oh, yeah. Might have to head west, man. I don't know.
Yeah. The more and more we talk, the more and more I'm talking myself into it.
I know.
But
we'll have to see.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they could have given me a little more time here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is kind of a little quick turnaround.
Yeah, because tickets go on sale next week. That means I'm going to have to pull the trigger soon if I'm going to happen.
Right.
So, yeah. That's that. I mean, it's coming. So,
for sure.
Get ready. And it's exciting because it's not so often that these happen back to back.
Right.
At least this back to back.
Yeah, this is back to back for sure.
Yeah, I think I think they did do an Anaheim and an Orlando back to back, but I think other than that, any back to backs would be like they did it here in the States, and then they go to Europe or Japan or
exactly
go visit the rest of the world.
Yep.
But they're giving us 2 here in the States, so that's pretty special.
For sure.
All right. If you have anything to add, you can always email us, show@thewarsandmore.com. It's the best way to get a hold of us. We're also on social media. We're at The Wars and More on Twitter, facebook.com/thewarsandmore. You can find all that and all the ways to find the show over at thewarsandmore.com. Any final thoughts this week, Doug?
No, I think that about covers it.
All right. We'll talk next week.